and human warmth kept things together. But then the pendulum began to swing his way. Chuck Noll became head coach in 1969. And while the old ghosts and goblins that haunted this team for so many years didn't disappear overnight, things were about to change. A sensationally fertile series of college drafts brought a string of brilliant all-stars. Terry Bradshaw, all the quarterback they would need for a decade, throwing to a dazzling matched pair of acrobatic receivers in John Stallworth and the leaping game breaker, Lynn Swann, all backed up on the ground by perennial 1,000-yarder Franco Harris. December 72, Steelers' first ever playoff game. This play, the Immaculate Reception, turned everything around and sent them to 4 Super Bowl wins in 4 tries and gave to a man of unprecedented kindness a team of unprecedented excellence.
Today's game is brought to you by Old Milwaukee Beer, the beer that tastes as great as its name, Old Milwaukee Beer. By the new Chrysler Corporation. For 1982, Chrysler has the cars, the quality, and the prices America needs. By J.C. Penney. And by RCA, from their 9-inch color tracks to their giant projection TV. RCA will open your eyes. A chilly day on the shores of Lake Erie. Cleveland Stadium, the site of so many great teams, of so many great games. Over the years, the Browns have been in the National Football League, and there is no more spirited rivalry than the Cleveland Browns and the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is Don Criqui with John Brody. Glad you can be with us on a day when the chill factor is down to 10 degrees above zero. Chuck Noll, who played on 2 championship teams here at Cleveland, back in his hometown as the Steelers, starting to play well again as they usually do late in the season. They're coming off perhaps their most impressive win, the upset of the Falcons last week at Atlanta when Bradshaw threw for a career-high 5 touchdowns. The Steelers in white and gold and black, ready to kick it off. Sam Ratigliano and his Browns saying they're conceding nothing. They're still in the race. This is a big one. Both teams needing a victory today to stay in it. Dino Hall takes the kickoff for Cleveland. He's to the 15 and the 20, and a hard hit's put on as Dino Hall goes out to the 25-yard line. Lauren Tays, 51, came down to make the stop for the Steelers. Here's Brian Sipe, who will direct the Cleveland Browns on offense. The 2 Pruitts in his backfield, not related. Greg Pruitt, the little pass catcher out of Oklahoma. Mike Pruitt, the power back from Purdue. And Dave Logan will try to go as best he can, hampered by a hamstring pull. He's a great one when he's ready. Reggie Rucker, who played so superbly against San Francisco, the other wide receiver, and as good a tight end as there is. Ozzie Newsome lines up strong to the right. It is now first down and 10 for the Cleveland Browns at their 25-yard line. Snow is falling, wind is blowing as Brian Sipe looks to put it up on first down, as he does most of the time. Now he interrupts the rush, and then Beasley comes over and makes the knockdown. Tom Beasley and John Banaszak converge on the stop. Beasley 65, starting at a tackle. The Pittsburgh Steelers with a defensive front of a young pass rusher from Oklahoma, John Goodman, starting at left end. Beasley and Dunn the tackles, and a Cleveland native, John Banaszak, the other end. The linebackers not any better in the league. Ham, Lambert, and Cole. Woodruff and Blunt play the corners. J.T. Thomas and Donnie Shell the safeties, but you'll see Cleveland throwing the ball so often they'll force Pittsburgh into a lot of defensive alignment. Sometimes you'll see 6 defensive backs in for the Steelers. Now, on second down and 8, Mike Pruitt looks for room to go, and the Cleveland Brown back is swept under. Great defense again by Beasley, the tackle for Pittsburgh. It's going to bring up third down and 9 now.
Don, you'll see this all day long. Cleveland is trying to get a piece of Jack Lambert. The whole structure of the defense for the Steelers is to keep people off Jack. He's the guy that's supposed to make tackles. If he has a big day, Cleveland will run very sparsely on the ground. If they can get Lambert on the ground, Cleveland may run very well.
Big down now early in the game. Third down and 9 for Cleveland. Ryan Sipe sends Rucker in motion. They go to the run. This is Greg Pruitt moving the ball upfield, darting and dashing, and Greg Pruitt is ahead for a Cleveland first down.
Now it was a confusion that got the Steelers in a hole. We mentioned if Lambert can get on the ground, the Browns may be able to pick up yardage. That time they put a man in motion, turned him around, sent him the other way, and it confused Anthony Washington. And when it did so, they ran out of a contained man running to the right side. You can see there's no back in this play. They have two blockers on Donnie Shell. Lambert's pushed back. They pick up a first down.
So they go to the run on 3rd and long, and the Browns get the first down, keep the drive alive. This is the opening drive of the football game. Cleveland took the kickoff. They now have it 1st and 10 at their 37. Back to Greg Pruitt, nothing there. In fact, a loss of maybe 3 yards. It's tough to make a living running against the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, in the words of Joe Green.
That's right. Do you recall, though, the last time these two teams met?
I do.
The Browns ran up and down the field for the first 20 minutes of play, but they didn't get any points on the board. And so even though they were effective doing what they wanted to do, it was all for naught. And I think that's what Joe Green means. You know, sooner or later, you're going to go broke trying to run against us.
Right now, the Cleveland Browns come up with another 2nd and long play. Brian Sipe, hands in the jersey holder, keeping him on until he takes the snap from his center, Jerry Sullivan. Sipe on 2nd and 11, takes a look, throws in the flat. Mike Pruitt loses the ball at the 39-yard line. Sipe's been in the middle of the pack so far this year, John, as a quarterback. What do you think the difference has been? He was the top of the league last year.
Well, I really think it's been the breaks. It's been the fact that Logan hasn't been healthy. It's been the fact that his offensive line has not kept him clean as they did a year ago. If you'll take a look, number 17 has been knocked out in 3 ball games this year. It works just like a prize fighter. I don't care how good you are. If you're knocked out once, you're more susceptible to being knocked out again. And I don't think it's a conscious thing, but I think people are in his face a lot more, and he's having a little more trouble.
Now let's see what Brian Sipe does on 3rd down and 12. You recall they ran on 3rd and 9, previous set of downs. They got the first down. He's going to pump it. Sipe over the middle. The man is open. Ricky Feacher makes a first down reception for Cleveland at the 46-yard line of the Steelers. J.T. Thomas drilled him in the small of the back when he came down, but Feature going high, catches the ball for a 19-yard gain as you see the snow sweeping down.
He got drilled from both ends. This is about as hard a ball as you'll ever see Brian Sipe throw. You'll notice he has very little motion in his throw. He takes it from the point of decision and gets it gone right now. Not a lot of wind-up. As a result, defensive backs have a little trouble reading where he wants to throw it. Feature will take a lick for that kind of gain anytime.
He is a game little receiver, Ricky Feature. Cleveland makes a living throwing the ball. As you know, their average per game offense throwing is 3rd highest in the league. And here is Mike Pruitt now coming with the run. And the Cleveland defense splits. The offense splits the Cleveland defensive line, and off goes Mike Pruitt for another big gainer on the play, as now the Browns are starting to challenge. Jack Ham finally tackled him.
Mike Pruitt might be as good a late running back as there ever has been. When I call a late is something that looks like a pass. It's handed off as you get back 4 or 5 yards, and it gets the linebackers into pursuit in their pass coverage. He can pick the right hole just as well as any back in the game.
He sure did it there, John, and now it's the 2nd down and less than a yard for Cleveland. Back to the power back, and Mike Pruitt is through the middle, and he splits the Cleveland defensive line, offensive line, just ripping open the Pittsburgh defense at the moment. And Mike Pruitt has been the prime carrier.
We have a beautiful shot. We're seeing Van Zek standing right in there with Beasley. Just a little crack is all you need if you're a back that's hitting the hole as soon as the ball is snapped. Mike does that, cracks through before anybody can get an arm around him, and they've got another first down.
He busted the Pittsburgh defensive front, then the linebackers, and finally was a safety knocked him down. 1st and 10 Cleveland. Right back to Pruitt. He's been a living so far for Cleveland. This time, Jack Ham puts on the clean shot, knocks him down for a gain of a yard. The AFC Central shows Cincinnati with an 8-3 record atop the division by 2 games over Pittsburgh. Cleveland at 5-6, Houston at 5-6. Everybody's still in contention. And as the Steeler coaches say, how good is Cincinnati? Well, now we're all going to find out, because we'll see if they keep winning. The end zone look, ground level. Now you see the Browns line up. 2nd down and 10, almost 10. Got about a half yard in the game. Sipe takes a drop, takes a look, throwing long. Pruitt is out there, and he drops a touchdown ball. Greg Pruitt, as sure-handed a receiver out of the backfield as there is in the National Football League, drops a touchdown ball.
Now, you don't get very many chances like this, and they've already used one of them. It's a blitz situation. Sipe picks it up beautifully. He's got Pruitt coming out of the backfield, runs a fine fan pattern. Robin Cole has no chance on the play. Blunt's trying to help out late. You don't get many chances where everything goes as it's drawn up. That was one of them, all for naught.
That really was a picture play, and Greg Pruitt couldn't hold on. So now third down arises. It's 3rd and 10. And the ball is just inside the 25-yard line. Features in the game. He's on the right flank. Logan's in on the left flank. He can go up and get it. 6'5". Sipe play fakes. He's taking a look. They give him time. All the time he needs. And Ozzie Newsome dives and catches the ball. The strong safety knocks him down short of a first down, though. It's going to be a couple yards short, John, so let's see what the Cleveland Browns elect to do. Here comes the field goal unit, and the little ex-Steeler Matt Barr's out there.
You've got to try and get some points on the board. When you make a drive of that nature and you don't get anything, it would really be a downer for them. You'll see Newsome and Shell all day long. Looks like a one-on-one matchup with a free center fielder in J.T. Thomas. So I think he's going to throw to his wide receivers an awful lot today if Pittsburgh keeps playing the way they are defensively.
Barr is getting set now to try a 34-yard field goal. Snap and set down good. Kick is on the way. It's plenty long. It's good. The Cleveland Browns go down the field. Their first possession of the ball and ultimately score on a field goal. So Matt Barr puts up the first points of the game against the team he helped pick to a Super Bowl championship. We'll be back after this.
Radio Shack makes Christmas dreams come true. Perfect for your little fireman or policeman. Our fire helmet or road patrol helmet for only $7.99. And to make the dream complete, an exciting battery-powered safe police car or fire engine for only $6.99. Easily programmed for 6 driving maneuvers, including straight, zigzag, circle, or square. Clever gifts for your kids at affordable prices. Only at Radio Shack, your Christmas electronics store.
To win in competition, these guys got to get everything just right. And for guys like that, we worked harder at making a beer that's just right. Old Milwaukee Light.
We got it right. Old Milwaukee Light.
We gave Old Milwaukee Light a big beer taste, but still kept it less filling, and that makes it just right.
We got it right. Old Milwaukee Light.
Old Milwaukee got light right.
The guy takes it seriously, John. Done up in orange and brown. Browns just went 75 yards in 12 plays, scoring on the field goal by Matt Barr. Nick Mickemeyer has just kicked a field goal for the Buffalo Bills. They lead the New England Patriots 3-0. Now the Browns are ready to kick it off. Steve Cox, the rookie from Arkansas, steps into it and really unloads downfield. With the ball is Larry Anderson for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's to the 15 and to the 20. He's out to the 24 and works his way to the 26-yard line. Swept under by a load of brown and orange clad bodies, and now you see how the records stand in the AFC. The 3 divisional leaders, Cincinnati, Denver, and Miami. Kansas City and the Jets right now running atop the race for the wild card. Buffalo, San Diego, and Pittsburgh right behind with 5 weeks to play, including today. Cleveland, Houston, and Oakland still considered outside chances to get there as wild card teams, but a lot can happen in the last 5 weeks. Game clock here shows 7:57 to play. First quarter, 3-0. The Browns lead the Pittsburgh Steelers as Franco Harris goes to the run on the Steelers' first down from scrimmage, and they take the ball ahead. A gain by Franco about 4 yards. He's had some great days against Pittsburgh. Running in the backfield with Terry Bradshaw and Franco Harris is Sidney Thornton. John Stallworth and Lynn Swan, the wide receivers. Swan finally healthy from a hamstring injury. The tight end, Randy Grossman today. Benny Cunningham is hurt. Handoff right back to power football, and Sidney Thornton takes it straight ahead for the Steelers. Thornton in the first game against Kansas City fumbled the ball 4 times, and the 6 times he carried didn't hit the field for a few more games after that. Now he's back in. Marshall Harris, Henry Bradley, Lyle Alzado, the defensive front for Cleveland. Good. Jackson, Ambrose, and Matthews are the backers. Bolton and the rookie Hanford Dixon at the corners, and Autry Beeman and Clarence Scott the safeties for Cleveland. It is now 3rd down and about a yard. Grossman in motion. They go behind him, and here is Franco Harris taking it up the middle. 1st down, Pittsburgh Steelers. Franco Harris, who in the 10 years he's been in the National Football League, has gained almost 1,500 yards against the Cleveland Browns. He's had some great days, particularly here in Cleveland.
And he's had so many fine days. Now, this is a short yardage situation, which really uses Franco's skill to the utmost, in that you have to be able to find a hole in a short yardage situation. There's no better back in the game than Franco at doing that. And over the years, he's gained a lot of yardage against Cleveland because his tackles have been able to trap the linebackers. And when you're able to do that, Franco's got some holes.
That'll be 1st and 10 now. Here's Bradshaw throwing in. Lynn Swan dives but loses the ball at the 35-yard line of Cleveland. Bradshaw on 1st down tries to strike long and comes so close, but Swan can't hold on. Lynn Swan's missed over 3 games with a hamstring injury.
He hasn't. It's reported that he's very healthy now, and when he is well, with the speed that he has, he's great. But his quickness is what gets him open. One-on-one situation that time with Autry Beeman. Anytime he can get into a one-on-one with Autry Beeman, they're going to have the ball coming down the field to him. It's not what Cleveland would like to have.
2nd down and 10 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Cleveland leading the game in the 1st quarter 3-0. Franco Harris looks for a place to go and finds an end. Turns the corner, puts his shoulder into the defender. Franco Harris did well to get ahead for 3 yards. Hanford Dixon, who's not very big, smallest player in the field right now, at the right corner, made the stop.
Let's note, Chuck Noll is calling the plays. All right, now, for whatever reason, we'll get into it a little bit later. It's a 2nd down and 9 or 7 yards to go. It's the personality of Bradshaw to put the ball up. Chuck would like to take it down the field a little bit more. That time with great linebacker pursuit, they made nothing.
3rd down and 7 now, and they put an extra wide receiver in. Jim Smith is also in the game for the Steelers. Bradshaw stands in, takes a look, has a problem, fires and gets his man Jim Smith. Open field. He's to the 40 of Cleveland. Not done yet. He's to the 35. Foot race. And Jim Smith, the former All-American from Michigan, is all the way down to the 20-yard line. A 38-yard gain on the play. He was supposed to have a bad knee, John.
Yeah, they get amazingly better when you've got the ball in your hand in the open field. Now, we've seen a lot of double coverage when the Browns play the Steelers. They feel they have to double the outsides. This is one of the rare occasions where they don't have that luxury because 3 wide receivers are in the ball game. Jim Smith might have a bad knee, but he didn't show it on that play.
5:09 left to play in the 1st quarter. The Steelers get their biggest gainer. They trail 3-0. They go to the run, and here is Sidney Thornton. Wraps both arms around the football and takes it inside the 20 from the 22. Might have gotten 3 or 4.
Here's a couple that know each other pretty well, Donnie. We've got Ron Bolton and Lynn Swan. Remember the last time these 2 teams played? I guess Swan was offended because of an action that Bolton put on him, but over the years, these 2 have been very close. Not so friendly, but very close.
Giants leading Philadelphia 3-0. Well, the contention was Swan said that Bolton spit in his face. Bolton said it was sweat coming off his head when Swan grabbed his face mask. Bradshaw throws one away as the Browns came in a linebacker blitz. Robert L. Jackson put the hammer on Terry Bradshaw just as he released the ball. Steelers have done a very good job of taking care of Terry Bradshaw. He's only been sacked 13 times this season, 2nd low total in the league. The low man, Joe Ferguson of Buffalo, has only been caught 7 times.
And even though they have done a pretty good job taking care of him, in the last month, really, Terry's been in a slump and out of one. Now, last week he threw as well as he's ever thrown, and yet 2 weeks prior he just really wasn't himself, and I guess that's the reason for Chuck calling the plays. It wasn't at Chuck's insistence.
3rd down and 7. What a game this is. This crowd of 80,000 starting up early now. Bradshaw eludes the rush, takes a look, stands in and fires. The ball is caught. Hawthorne gets it down at the 6-yard line. Greg Hawthorne comes downfield, turns over the middle, and Bradshaw, with as good a throw as you'll see, about 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage, drills a line shot.
All made possible because number 12 may be the best athlete that has ever played at this position. when they won 4 Super Bowls, and he's got one on every finger but his thumb, it was because he'd get out of a problem, make a great play out of a bad situation as he does here. This play is not designed to pick up 18 yards. It was designed to get a 6-yard loss. Great play by 12.
Boy, it was a great play because the Browns had the play covered, and still Bradshaw got on it. Here's Thornton trying the middle, and he takes it on a 1st and goal from the 6-yard line down to about the 2 or 3. Big Sid Thornton. He's not tall, about 5'10", but he's big at 230. He's a hammer. He's a great blocker. You get him first, then comes Franco.
I should get back to a point that I touched on earlier. It's the personality, I think, of the Pittsburgh Steelers to throw the ball back just down the field, down the field, down the field. Bradshaw's a vertical thrower. He doesn't like to throw to his backs. He throws into bad defenses, but makes it work anyway, and I don't see any reason to stop him.
Tampa Bay in front of Green Bay, and now Bradshaw takes a look into the end zone. He throws, it's caught and dropped. Good defense by the Browns. Incomplete pass. And for Dixon, and there's nobody out there to catch him. But it was an incomplete pass to Jim Smith.
Don, if they'd have given him the completion, I think they'd have ruled it a touchdown because he was coming out of the end zone and actually had his hands on the ball while he was over the plane.
Gene Barth, the referee, signaling a call now against the Cleveland Browns. Defensive penalty resulting in 4 new downs for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So right now they're at point-blank range. A technical problem on the field with the referee's mic. Right now he's not being heard by you or by the people in the stadium. There's 80,000 here. This game is sold out every year 6 months before it's played. 15 to 20,000 are here from Pittsburgh. There'd be 50 or 60,000 from Pittsburgh if there were that many seats. 80,000. Browns running #1 in the National Football League in attendance. And this crowd started up with the opening kickoff and hasn't let up yet. Now Thornton drives down to the goal line. No signal that he got in, but he's very close. And he did well to hold on to the ball.
Well, I think because he stayed alive when he was knocked back and no tackler had him by the arms, I think he lost a yard on the play. And you can see he's just met about a foot short. Now that's his forward progress. But now he gets loose. Now they'll give it back to him about I thought at the 1-yard line. They gave it to him at the 6-inch line.
So the nose of the ball is almost at the goal line as Robert L. Jackson, 56, takes his position, ready to jump into the gap. They're looking for the Steelers to ram the ball right at the Cleveland offense. Hawthorne dives in, touchdown, Pittsburgh. And the Steelers come right back down the field after taking the kickoff following Matt Barr's field goal. And Pittsburgh, an impressive-looking team, drives it into the end zone with Greg Hawthorne, who made an excellent reception. You'll remember to get him down for on the payoff end.
I guess he did make an excellent reception. They've said for years that this fella has all the tools, really hasn't been in a position to play long enough for them to be able to see whether he has them or not. Big, long strider. Flies over the goal line, no contest.
Now, Trout will try the point after for the Steelers. He didn't get it. David Trout, the rookie from the University of Pittsburgh, is wide to the right. So that could loom very large as this game wears on. The Steelers just going 73 yards in 12 plays. Hawthorne on the payoff. Bang. Touchdown, Pittsburgh.
When you get 2 feet, that's just like a runway when you're down by that goal line.
John, it's interesting in this series. The games are invariably close. They seem to score more, both teams, when they play at Cleveland.
Well, I think both times they've played here, the weather has been inclement. And look at this. Oh!
Breaking it up the middle is Greg Pruitt, and then taking it to the outside. He almost broke the distance. Finally, he's caught. It was a 22-yard gain. Rick Moser, recently reacquired, made the tackle. Tonight on NBC, it's Bob Hope's Stand Up and Cheer for the National Football League's 60th year, an all-star comedy salute to America's #1 spectator sport. An awesome lineup of stars: Elizabeth Taylor, Olivia Newton-John, Susan Anton, O.J. Simpson, and Dick Butkus are just a few. Footballs and Laughs with Bob Hope tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern Time on NBC.
We're looking at Sam Ratigliano, Don, and he made an interesting comment. He asked his team this week how they handle pressure. And they all looked a little puzzled. He said, I'll tell you how we handle it. We handle it together.
Well, they certainly are backed up now. The Cleveland Browns can't afford to lose anymore if they're going to be in the playoffs. Sipe takes a look, gets it away. Ball was almost caught. Ryan Sipe. Some very quick footwork to elude the Pittsburgh pass rush. Steelers have a lot more speed at their defensive ends now with the young John Goodman coming. And
for so many years, Don, number 59 has just been a pillar on the left linebacker side. He's covered backs like a blanket over the years. He really hasn't had the year he's had in the past, and I guess you can point to several reasons for that, but without a great pass rush, which the Steelers have not had this year, it's awfully hard for linebackers to operate at the caliber they're capable.
Jack Ham, the only player consensus selection to the team of the 70s in the NFL. Unanimous selection. Now it's 2nd down and 10, Cleveland. Brian Sipe falling back, takes a look. There's a penalty marker. Pittsburgh is really getting a rush on. The Steelers, a very aggressive outfit, as they cut a big rush on Brian Sipe.
Well, why is he dropping back? Simply they wanted to run a screen pass. There's a flag on the play, and I'm not certain as to whether it was defensive holding or offensive, but I do know that Jack Ham was standing right next to Mike Pruitt, and that's why Sipe couldn't throw the ball.
Interesting observation before the game. We'll get that after Gene Barth. Okay, a tripping violation declined by the Steelers. That brings up 3rd down and 10, 3rd down and 12. Jim Garrett, the offensive backfield coach, likened the Browns and the Steelers to the finesse fighter. That's Cleveland against the slugger. The Pittsburgh Steelers said, we can't slug with him. We got to finesse him. Trick it.
All right, here he is. Now here's the defensive linemen are out there. Ham standing at the line of scrimmage. There's nowhere to go with the ball.
Doug Deacon was called for the trip on the penalty. Cincinnati, they're a rolling outfit down at Three Rivers, their Riverfront Stadium at the moment. They are out in front of the Denver Broncos 7-0. Pete Johnson ran it in from 39 yards out. That big Buckeye is getting some touchdowns again this season.
Tell you what, I don't know what they were shot with, but they were sure shot with a large dose because they've just been putting it to everybody.
They really have. Right now, it's 6 out. Temperature is dropped, and the battle is on once again between two of the NFL's greatest rivals, the Browns and the Steelers. 80,000 here at Cleveland Stadium. Don Criqui with John Brody. 2 minutes and 2 seconds left to play in the first quarter. Browns scored on their first possession on a field goal by Matt Barr. Steelers took it right down the field and scored in a touchdown, but missed the extra point. Greg Hawthorne came in from a yard out for the TD. Now the Browns have a problem, John. It's 3rd down and 13. Ricky Feacher in motion. Sipe. Deep drop. He gets time. He puts it up. It's intercepted. Anthony Washington intercepts the ball and takes it back for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's inside the 30-yard line and down to the 26. And there's a penalty marker down at the line of scrimmage. Anthony Washington from Fresno State started out at Cal at Berkeley. Let's see what the call is at the line of scrimmage.
It was thrown late. It was thrown very late, Don. So it could be on the defensive team after the ball was intercepted. Tell you, people will say, well, wonder what he was aiming at there. Well, he was aiming at Logan, but the ball went right off the side of his hand. It was a perfect spiral, but it was a total slider. Washington just slipped in, picked it off. Everybody in the house knew he didn't intend to throw it there. Anthony Washington's 2nd interception of the year. Sipe's got a lot of time to throw, just a poorly thrown ball.
Illegal use of the hands of pushing it back on the run back. First down.
Foul coming after the interception, so the Steelers get the ball, and they have it 1st and 10 at the 36-yard line of Cleveland. Anthony Washington, a big rangy defensive back. There's going to be a lot of different looks on defense in the Steeler backfield, according to defensive coordinator Woodenhofer. They're going to show Sipe things he hasn't seen before, because if you show him things he's expecting, he'll take you apart. Good hit by Lyle Alzado. Straight on crash into Franco Harris on a 1st down play, and there's no gain. Lyle Alzado in his 10th year now, anchoring the right side of the Cleveland defensive line.
Funny, so many things have been said about Pittsburgh, and questions have been asked. But the one phase of their football team that might be better this year than it has been in the past is their offensive line. Very seldom do you see a man come free, untouched, and make the tackle behind the line of scrimmage against him.
Alzado digs in. 2nd down and 10 for Bradshaw and the Steelers. Steelers like this kind of weather. They've played some great games in inclement weather. Bradshaw throws. There's a big high throw going in over the head of John Stallworth. Tell you, Bradshaw, if his arm isn't stronger now than it was 10 years ago, I don't believe it's any weaker.
I don't think he has to worry about strength, Don. He's got plenty of that, got some to spare. This is what we're talking about. Generally, all the technicians and the philosophers say you can't even try to throw this ball into this defense. It's a double zone coverage. The cornerback comes up, takes Stallworth man-to-man with a man protecting behind. But over the years, Terry Bradshaw has beaten this coverage upside down and inside out, throwing balls he shouldn't have thrown. So I say go ahead and keep doing it.
Buffalo's problems continuing. Andy Johnson just threw in a halfback option to Stanley Morgan. New England leads 7-3. Bradshaw, 3rd and 11. Man is open. Look at that play. And all the way down inside the 5-yard line, John Stallworth takes the ball. As Bradshaw in this game has thrown a couple of the most perfect professional passes you'll ever see. A 35-yard strike, absolutely excellent.
Now you take a look at the secondary coverage. It's a blitz coverage. That's why the free safety's coming up to look for the back. When you do that, you leave all your wide receivers. This time Judson Flint. That's no match for John Stallworth. Bradshaw's got plenty of time, and it's a blitz. When there's a blitz defensively and the quarterback's got some time, lo and behold, you're in trouble.
Judson Flint a step behind, and Bradshaw on the numbers of John Stallworth. And now the Steelers challenge again. Here's Sidney Thornton taking it wide, puts his head down and crashes in for a Pittsburgh touchdown. So the Steelers capitalize on the interception. They get a good group here, John, from Pittsburgh. They celebrate before, during, and after.
Yes, I tell you what, and to be able to see the ball game from the seats that they're looking at it from, I would celebrate before and after also, because they are in the cheap seats. There aren't any in the mezzanine boxes, but they don't care. Right now, their team's ahead 12-3. Looks like it's going to be 13, and it looks like it's practice day for them.
Last year, the Steeler fans hooped and hollered all game as Pittsburgh was leading 26-13 in the 4th quarter, but lo, the Browns came back to win 27-26.
A giant crane, a tough train.
Zone for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers going very quickly, 64 yards in 4 plays. Elapsed time on the clock, 1:36. 13 seconds to play in the 1st quarter. And the Steelers, after trailing at the outset 3-0, now lead the game 12-3.
Don, you know, you mentioned earlier, why are the games so high scoring when they're played in Cleveland? And I mentioned inclement weather. Well, like the conditions have been a little bit muddy. Well, when that happens, you throw the ball, the pass rush is nullified, and the defensive backs have trouble staying with the receivers.
Trout, who missed the first extra point, knocks this one through, and the penalty marker goes down. So we'll see who that's against. Against Pittsburgh, he'll have to try it again. You recall that Dave Trout's first extra point was wide to the right. The Pittsburgh Steelers have defeated the Cleveland Browns 8 of the last 9 times they've played. Earlier this season, 6 weeks ago, October 11th, at Three Rivers Stadium, was Pittsburgh 13, Cleveland 7 in a very, very ferocious football game. Which you alluded to, John, when Brian Sipe was KO'd in that game.
And I'll tell you what, it hasn't got a lot easier on Sipe as far as time to throw, receivers being open. People have taken some time to defense them.
Extra point now, a little bit farther back. Snap and set down on the way. It's up. No good again. So David Trout missing extra points. You can't do that in the National Football League and stay employed for a whole long time.
I'll show you the effect. They've scored 2 touchdowns. Cleveland scored a field goal. And now if they score a touchdown and a field goal, they'd be ahead. I mean, you say the extra point is not an important point in this game. It's early in the game and anything can happen, but it's so ironic how often in the last 3 minutes of a game you look back and say, man, I wish we had those 2 points back.
Just like you look back at the beginning of the season, looks at the losses. The games don't count anymore now than they did the opening week of the season, but try and tell the coaches and the players that.
That's right. You see the other side of the coin, Barr, who was kicking for Pittsburgh last year, is 40 straight conversion-wise. So there were some things that they felt he was a little suspect in, but kicking the extra points wasn't one of them.
How about the guy you held for at San Francisco, Tommy Davis? His record might be around as long as DiMaggio's hitting streak.
Well, there isn't anybody could play that long. He had 234 straight conversions in a 7-year period. I'd say that's pretty consistent.
He didn't miss any for 7 years. Tampa Bay contending in the NFC Central, moving out in front of the Green Bay Packers 10-0 now. Cedric Brown ran back a pass interception, 81 yards. Now Dave Trout kicks off, hits a line drive downfield. It'll carry to Dino Hall at about the 6-yard line. Dino lets it go into the end zone. He'll down it there. as he's counseled by Eddie Johnson, a linebacker who is an up back to block for him. Don't come out of there. So the ball will come out to the 20-yard line, and there the Browns will go on offense for a third time, 1st and 10. 5 seconds to play in the first quarter. Brian Sipe, now in his 8th year out of San Diego State. 13th round draft choice, sat for a few years, and finally reached the ultimate last year, most valuable player in the entire National Football League. Comes into this game with a lot of passing yards. He's one of the leaders in the league. His percentages and interceptions are higher than he'd like them to be, though. He's been intercepted 15 times.
He has more touchdown throws than interceptions, which means he is having a productive season. But when a guy's all pro, MVP, they take a little time to find out what made him that way, and it gets a little tougher on him.
That's what they say. He's seeing a lot of different defensive looks. Here's Greg Pruitt slashing, running hard, and a marker comes in after the play. 22-yard line. Mel Blount was the man who made the tackle. They say, John, of all the Steeler greats from the early 70s when they first started to win, Mel Blount has lost the least of any of them. He's just as fast as he was. He's still the toughest corner in the league to throw deep on.
I think he's put to rest that fact that you can't play more than 10 or 11 years in this league at the same speed and keep it up in there at the 4.4, 4.5, 4.6 range. He's done it. I don't think he's lost anything, and certainly not his intensity to play, because they put him in responsibilities that they don't put any cornerbacks in. He usually takes the best receiver in the opposing team and plays him all over the football field all day long, and you don't see many people trying to pick on him.
Now, Mel Blount's been a great one for 12 years. 32 years old, and that was the final play of the first quarter, so they switch ends. Browns huddle up back at their 5-yard line, and during the quarter break, Brian Sipe comes over and talks things over. Denver 14-0. We might have to give them a saliva test, John. Check out those Tigers.
Tell you, Denver's been behind quite a few times this year, and now without Craig Morton, it will be interesting to see how they respond, because they've responded so well when he was playing. Take a look at the Steelers and the Browns, 108-58. You don't see such a gigantic edge in ball possession. You do a little bit in yardage, but both teams have been able to move the ball, but this penalty puts them in a decision. Right now, do you try to get it out of there?
It's a tough one. 1st down and 20. Hand off in the draw. Play goes to Pruitt up the middle, and he gets it back, fumbles the ball, and it's recovered by the Browns for a 1st down. So that one worked every which way. The run was good, the fumble wasn't, but certainly the recovery was for more yardage by Ricky Feacher.
A nice, unique little way to pick up a 1st down.
They're ruling he was down, though, back, John, at the 26. His knee apparently was down with somebody on him.
Well, they did rule it, so we'll see whether or not we agree with that. Looked to me like the ball slipped out just when he got hit.
Yeah.
Nope, they ruled it correctly. The ball hit the ground with him. Donnie Shell was on top of him.
There was a 16-yard gain on the play, so it's 2nd down and 4. Browns trail 12-3 early in the second quarter. They go back to the run. Mike Pruitt, who's getting the ball more and more in recent weeks, drives ahead, gets it across the 30. He has a 1st down for Cleveland. Gary Dunn, number 67, who grades out as Pittsburgh's best defensive lineman this season, was on the stop.
Mike Pruitt, we mentioned how well he ran draw plays and quick traps and things of that nature. He is also one who can run wide, one of the few fullbacks in this game that can run effectively, as can Franco Harris, out wide. They said he has to pick up something like 65 yards a game to hit 1,000 yards. He may do it today.
Eagles just scored. Jaworski to Krefli. They've taken the lead over the Giants 7-3. Counter. Here comes Pruitt wide. The defender gets him, holds on, and Robin Cole slows him up enough before he can get some help. Right now, let's swing back to NFL 81 in New York and Bryant Gumbel. Bryant?
All right, Don, here's one from Rich Stadium. The Patriots have moved out in front of the Bills on an option pass. Andy Johnson to Stanley Morgan, a 56-yarder, the 4th touchdown pass of the year for Johnson. It's 7-3 Patriots. Don?
All right, Bryant, here in Cleveland, Ohio. The snow has lessened. It is a cold day, though. Air temperature 29 degrees, but with the wind chill, it takes it down to 10 degrees. Chuck Noll knows this Cleveland weather well. Grew up here, dreamed of playing for the Browns, and did on 5 teams that won Eastern Division titles, on 2 that won National Football League championships. And now he comes back as the enemy.
Looks like they're coming.
2nd and 9. Sipe stands in, gets some time. Now he's forced out of the pocket, has a problem, and Brian Sipe is sacked all the way back at the 16-yard line. And a penalty marker is down back around the line of scrimmage. John Banaszak, a Cleveland native, was the man who got through and got him.
Don, it's one thing to pick up a blitz coverage. It's another thing to get a man free. Now you see that call. This is what it is right there. Lambert hits him at the line of scrimmage. Then he grabs a hold, spins Pruitt around, chases him, covers him like a blanket. Lambert's been getting away with an awful lot of that. Normally a linebacker will, because it's not very evident. It's just very effective generally. That time he got called.
So what a swing on that play. It would have been a loss of 16 yards.
58 defense, first down.
It would have been a loss of 16 yards on the sack. Instead of the defensive holding penalty, results in a Cleveland first down at the Browns 38.
Well, I think the Steelers are as good as anyone in the game at doing this. When a back comes out of that backfield, they better hold that helmet on, because they'll knock it off if you don't.
Lambert something. He ignites the Steeler defense, a man driven to win, enraged by defeat. No middle linebackers ever meant more to the success of his team than Jack Lambert. Now Sipe takes a look, throws hard, and the ball comes in a little low. And Dave Logan, with the pulled hamstring and all, running a quick out pattern. Mel Blount was with him.
Hate to belabor the effectiveness of one man, but that time Sipe had a man open. He'd beaten Blount. Logan had beaten Blount. Lambert's a middle linebacker standing way outside on the flank. Cut the lane off from Sipe. As a result, incomplete pass.
That was the story, and now it's going to be second down and 10. 13-15 left to play in the first half. Browns scored the first time they got the ball on a field goal by Matt Barr. They drove down the field. Pittsburgh took it right back, scored in a run by Hawthorne, extra point missed. Pittsburgh intercepted, scored in a run by Thornton, extra point missed. It's 12-3 Pittsburgh. Second and 10 to the draw, nothing there. This time they're waiting for Mike Pruitt, who's ripped off a lot of yards early in the game. And Gary Dunn, defensive tackle from Miami of Florida, was there to make the stop along with Robin Cole. So far, Mike Pruitt has run 8 times for 44 yards for Cleveland.
You know, you're not dealing with empty chairs out there. Those defensive linemen have been back in Sipe's face 3 times on draw plays. They picked up 8, 10, 12 yards at crack. Pretty soon they're going to say, wait, as soon as we see him give us something, let's just see what's going on here. They stopped him at the line.
That time they did stop him at the line. A lot of defenders in the Pittsburgh secondary now. Blount is at one corner. Anthony Washington moves over to the other. Donnie Shell comes up tight to play Rucker at the line. They go to the run. This is Greg Pruitt. Look at this. Greg Pruitt's in open field. Dark
This is close, Don.
Penalty markers are down, though.
Sipe is hot, too, because he thinks he drew Pittsburgh offside. I guess the official ruled that there was contact made. Sipe thinks he should have been given the benefit of the play. I'll tell you, it does get hot when things aren't quite going the way you'd like to see them go.
Delay of game offense, 5-yard penalty. Go third down.
A little late getting the play into action. You'll see it again, though, as Pruitt broke it open.
Well, the funny thing to me is they may have made the call and made the decision that it was off too late, but they didn't blow the whistle until the ball had been snapped. Now, I don't know how you rule something like that, but it had to be very, very close.
Sam sure thinks it was.
Well, he can't understand that if it was too much time, why didn't they blow the whistle before the ball was snapped?
Now let's see what Sipe can do, John, as he has a 3rd and 15. Steeler linebackers jump up, now drop back in zone coverage. Sipe takes a drop. He gets some time. Now he's got to hurry. Brian Sipe with a problem, eludes it for the moment, gets the ball away. Feacher catches it for a first down. Oh, Ricky Feacher coming across the field. .28-yard game. The intensity level of this crowd at Cleveland Stadium is like a Super Bowl.
At the end of this play, you're going to see something that a receiver very rarely gets the ball in time to do. Now, Sipe's got a lot of time. He finally finds Feacher coming open. Very heads-up play by Feacher. Gets the ball with just enough time to deliver a blow to Woodruff, who is standing flat-footed. When he does so, those receivers grab enough punishment. When they can handle it out, I think they like it.
Rich Kotite, the receiver coach for Cleveland, has maintained all along that Feacher has the stuff to be a superstar, and he's starting to really come into his own this season. 1st and 10. Here's another throw in the flat. This time, Big Dave Logan goes out, catches the ball. That's Ozzie Newsome going out and catching the ball. Ball is downfield inside the 30-yard line, and it's a first down for the Cleveland Browns.
This is just a simple blown assignment, Donnie. if you're going to double the wide receivers, as they try to do with Logan and Rucker and Feature too, you're going to have to leave somebody open. Ozzie was rambling along all alone.
So now the Browns are mounting a challenge on the reception by Ozzie Newsome. They have the ball inside the Pittsburgh 30, down to the 28-yard line. This crowd is absolutely unbelievable, standing and yelling as the snow blows in off Lake Erie, and Sipe takes a drop on first down. He's got Rucker out there, intercepted by Donnie Shell. A second interception by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Rucker was open, the ball came in a little light, and Shell on double coverage comes up and stops the Cleveland drive.
I think Brian would like to have had this ball back, because when it left his hand, even though it looked as if Rucker was open, and he's had a lot of success throwing the ball down the field to Rucker, he is double covered. On the other side, Logan's all alone. Bad decision. Ball turned over.
Again by an interception, this one by Donnie Shell. Sipe intercepted twice here in the first half. 11:15 to play in the half, and the Cleveland Browns trailing 12-3. They were moving the ball, but they were stopped in the end zone by Shell. Now the Steelers go 1st and 10. Franco. Not much. Franco likes the off track. Buffalo just getting another field goal by Mickemeyer. Comes back and trails 7-6. Joe Cribbs went out of that game with an rib injury. Buffalo's best runner. Philadelphia up 7-3, now finds themselves down 10-7. The Giants just scored in a run by Leon Bright, a former All-Canada player. New Orleans leads Houston 7-0. Bum Phillips goes back to the Astrodome, and Tampa Bay's out in front of Green Bay 17-0. Franco got about 2 on that last carry at 2nd and a long 8. Bradshaw looks. Here comes the rush. There goes the throw. Diving reception by Lynn Swan. Excellently done again. Slides in front of Bolton and takes it on the ground for a 20-yard gain.
Don, when they get into a 3-receiver offense, you can see it's Bolton and Swan. They have to get into a one-on-one situation with a free safety deep if they like, but he can't help to the outside. Now this is just perfect execution. Bolton's got Swan covered, but he can't handle the whole field. Bradshaw throws it the only place it can be completed. There are very few receivers that would have come up with the ball.
Down over the ball is Mike Webster at center. He's not missed an offensive down in 2 years for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The consensus All-Pro gives the snap to Bradshaw to Thornton, and the Browns sweep under the run. And they're calling fumble recovery at the Pittsburgh 40. And that is the official ruling. Cleveland has the ball. Clarence Scott comes up with the ball.
I guess maybe sometimes it does some good when if you think you've got it, if all of your guys start pointing in the right direction. The last guy to point was the official.
So the Pittsburgh advantage on the interception in the end zone by Shell is quickly negated by a fumble recovery by Clarence Scott. Detroit leading Chicago 6-0. Ed Murray's hit 2 field goals for the Lions at Soldier Field.
If this game's a low-scoring game, Don, there's going to have to be 9 interceptions on both sides, because neither team is holding anything back.
Now the Browns go to the run on first down, and Pruitt gets some good yards as he drives it inside the Pittsburgh 40 and down close to the 37. Robin Cole was on the tackle. Let's go back now to NFL 81 in New York. Bryant?
Well, down at Riverfront Stadium, the Broncos are trying to come back against the Bengals, but they have to do it without Craig Morton. He's got a shoulder injury. Steve DeBerg has just completed a long pass to Watson, but the Broncos trail 14-0 in the second. Don?
All right, Brian, here as you see at Cleveland Stadium, it is Pittsburgh 12, the Cleveland Browns 3. Longtime rivals meeting for the 64th time. Started playing in 1950 when the Browns came into the National Football League. Ryan Sipe, 2nd and 6, goes to the run. Joe DeLamielleure leads the blocking, and the carry is down close to the 35-yard line. John Banaszak was on the tackle on the play. Mike Pruitt gets the call again. So it's going to bring up 3rd down and 4 now for the Browns as the game clock is running down to 9:17 to play in the first half.
It's one of those spots on the field, Don, where I really believe if he gets it within 2 yards of a first down, he'll have a go on 4th down. I know it's early in the ball game, but to kick a field goal in these conditions of some 48 yards is really asking quite a bit. I think they're going to go at it that way.
Well, we've seen 2 missed extra points by Pruitt of the Steelers at that end of the field. Now Brian Sipe throws long. It's going to be too long for Reggie Rucker. Mel Blount running step for step with Rucker. Crowd thought that Mel Blount might have been bumping him.
And I think he might have been, but there is no penalty, remember, if the man could not have caught the ball if he hadn't been bumped. And I think the official has to take a look at both those circumstances. In that case, nobody had a play on the ball, no call.
Ruff's a little thick down there today, in that area of the field.
Well, I tell you, I'm wrong. He's got Barr out there trying to kick a 52-yard field goal.
One never knows. Since the holder's a quarterback, Paul McDonald. 52-yarder, that's out of his range. It's going to be straight, but about 10 yards short. Cuts back. No, they'll take it at the line of scrimmage, of course, with the outside the 35-yard line. Pittsburgh will take over the ball at their 35-yard line. So the Browns come up empty and a long field goal attempt. Steelers take over.
We're Exxon. We're Andy Caldor, heading a team of Exxon scientists who use lasers to unlock energy secrets that could never be revealed before. We're Richard Hall, creating chemical reactions with light to make future energy production more efficient. We're Carmel Meyer, conducting research that may one day make American energy more plentiful and less costly. We're more than 100,000 people working on energy. We're Exxon.
MCS, stereo for the senses. See the beauty of MCS. Touch the precision controls. Hear incredible sound. Feel it move you to a realm beyond. The MCS 60-watt system with receiver and speakers is on sale at $599.85. Save $380. See it, touch it, hear it, feel it. MCS, stereo for the senses. Only at JCPenney.
Join host Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen for a Thanksgiving Day spectacular. It's the Battle of the Running Backs as powerhouse Billy Sims and the hungry Detroit Lions take on speedster Joe Delaney and the Kansas City Chiefs. Turkey and NFL football Thursday on NBC.
Back at Cleveland Stadium, a very chilly day here, 10-degree chill factor. The old Broads are starting to get that California look in his eye.
Well, that's right, but you're the one that's sacrificing everything for looks. I'd put my coat on if I were you.
Better do that, Coach. It is 1st and 10 now. Pittsburgh Steelers have the ball, and Terry Bradshaw play fakes. He throws. It's going to come in short for John Stallwood. Big rush, and it came from the left side linebacker, Don Good, coming on a blitz. Saturday on NBC Sports World, you'll see the superstars of ice skating, including Ty Babyloni and Randy Gardner, Robin Cousins, Peggy Fleming, and Dorothy Hamill in the World Pro Figure Skating Championship, an encore performance, plus the funny cars and pro stocks go for the quarter mile, and the 1981 National Hot Rod Association World Finals of Drag Racing, Saturday at 4 o'clock Eastern Time on NBC Sports World. Bradshaw 4 for 9 for 106 yards. He's hit some big gainers. Franco Harris looks for running room and does very well to get ahead on a 2nd and 10 carry out to the 41. He got 6, maybe 7. Before Ron Bolton ran him down.
Yeah, that's one of those deals where you create your own running room because there was no hole. The play would stop at least the line of scrimmage, as Franco's done so often. He finds one that isn't there.
I saw Franco down the field, John, before the game. They talk about Franco liking an off track and bad weather. He says, I hate bad weather. He said, but you got to work it like everybody else out there. But he does well in it. Plants his feet. The Steelers as a team do like bad weather. They say they like it because they've done well in it. They're confident in it. Bradshaw, as good a bad weather quarterback that's ever played, goes long this time to Lynn Swan, and a hard pop is placed by Ron Bolton. Right now, we're going to pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
Pittsburgh's 11, the news station.
John, we haven't had a punt in this game yet.
Well, no, I think the only thing that stopped either team is themselves.
We're going to have one now. Craig Colquitt, who's having his best season as a punter. Last 5 games, he's been averaging 47 yards, 43 for the season. Hits a low but rather long punt. Dino Hall catches it, and the coverage is right there. Ron Johnson gets him for no gain. So a 40-yard punt, but no gain. Big play by Johnson coming down on the flank. 7:44 left to play in the first half. Browns take over the ball, trailing 12-3 when we come back.
Quality and value in a new American car, you must.
First, you don't succeed. So Joe Ferguson does it again, and the Bills on the board again, leading 13-7. Now Denver's come back in the game, 14-7. Cincinnati still in the lead. 7:44 to play in the first half. 1st and 10 for the Cleveland Browns. They scored on their first possession on a field goal. Have not scored since. It's 12-3 Pittsburgh. Sipe throws, penalty markers down. The completion is made to Greg Pruitt. He's out to the 36-yard line. Robin Cole knocked him down. He's like a little rocket, that Greg Pruitt.
Well, he's such a fine pass receiver coming out of the backfield. But offensive holding took care of that play.
New look on the Cleveland or the Pittsburgh defensive front. They're going with those young defensive ends, Goodman and Coors, a lot more now. Joe Green on the bench to start this day.
Holding, 79 offense, still 1st down.
Jerry Sullivan, the center they got. Of course, he is starting for Tom DeLeon, a Pro Bowl center and a former All-American at Ohio State, who's out with a foot fracture, and that's a factor in Brian Sipe not having as big a year. You can't lose an All-Pro center and not lose something.
Well, they had a few problems with the transfer of the ball in the first few games, but since then it's cleared up. Jerry's played well.
Charles White now in the game for the Browns. Mike Pruitt gets the ball, runs into John Goodman, number 95. Goodman makes the knockdown. So on a 1st and 20 play, the Browns get virtually nothing. It'll be 2nd and 20. Goodman's a good one. He is big at 6'5", 255. He's the fastest Steeler lineman, runs a 4.8 40. Kind of a lackadaisical guy in practice. They aren't quite sure about his attitude, but they say on game day he's liable to eat you up. He did the Atlanta Falcons last week, sacked Bartkowski twice.
Yeah, those lackadaisical guys fool a lot of coaches and never get to play, but Rulon Jones was one of those.
Yeah, he's lackadaisical. Here's Brian Sipe at his goal line. Stands and waits, and Ozzie Newsome is open and catches the ball. It's a Cleveland 1st down. Brian Sipe patiently, courageously standing at his goal line, and then he throws a perfect strike to one of the best, Ozzie Newsome, for a 29-yard gain.
No one has ever doubted his courage or his patience. But I'll tell you what, this ball is as finely thrown as you will see one all year. Just stands there, waits for Newsome to get down the field far enough to be able to make his break. That's one you walk up to every guy in the offensive line and say, thanks, fella. Because when you get enough time to throw that kind of pass, it's your offensive line that got it for you.
Big Ozzie's caught 4 today for 50 yards. He has 55 for the season. He's en route to his best year. He's never had a bad one. Now his 4th year from Alabama. Browns get the big play, and they have a 1st down at their 44-yard line. Sipe throws in the flat. The ball is caught by Mike Pruitt. He is hit hard as he comes up. Woodruff gets him. Jack Ham was also on the play for Pittsburgh. Jack Ham has meant a lot to the Steelers, coming back off that arm fracture suffered against these Cleveland Browns in a preseason game. Halftime, we go to New York to Bryant Gumbel, an update on everything that's happening on this weekend of play as we're starting down the stretch in this 81 regular season. And as always, so many of the playoff spots still to be decided, probably not till the final gun, the final day.
It's funny how many people decide how it's going to come out after 10 or 11 or 12
That's
games.
right.
I've seen teams blow 3-game leads like that. I've seen teams come from nowhere. Just keep playing and something good might happen.
2nd and 1. They go to the run. Right ahead goes Charles White. Charlie White takes it ahead down to the 40-yard line. They're waiting for him to explode, and they think he will.
They got to play him to let it happen.
He hasn't gotten a lot of time.
They've got 3 outstanding backs, and it's pretty hard to give them all enough playing time. But Charles White is one man who you can just about, without exception, predict he's going to be an outstanding back when he gets to play a lot.
As a collegiate at SC, only Tony Dorsett at Pittsburgh gained more career yards. Whitehead. Here's another interception by Mel Blount. They really got it out of bounds. Ozzie Newsome was waiting for the ball. Sipe a little soft on his long throws, and Mel Blunt stepped in, but was out of bounds when he intercepted. Incomplete pass.
Well, you might beat a free safety when you get enough time. It's the same kind of pattern that Sipe called earlier for the first down. Look at this offensive line blocking. Joe DeLama lures on Goodman. He handles him. Everybody handles their man. Sipe makes a nice throw, but you don't fool Blunt. One step
Reggie
in,
Rutger.
one step out. Not quite good enough. They've still got the ball.
We'll be back right after this.